Greetings, my fellow hunters, and welcome again. Today, we're going to be taking a look at an anime with such a beautiful song that it warmed my heart, which is very rare for me. This anime is called Vivy Fluorite's I Song. Such a beautiful anime that I almost missed, even it wasn't thanks to recommendation of a friend who I promised I'd review this for her. So thank you very much. So anyway, before I begin, as I always say, let the hunt begin. What's the story about? Well, the best way I can basically explain this is if I take other stories and combine this into one, or basically other medias. So if you combine the book Two Robot Streams, a dash of Terminator, a splice of ReZero, and a teensy weensy bit of Vocaloids, you have Vivy. And yes, that is the best way I can explain how this story is built. Basically, in the distant future, robots are about to destroy humanity, so it's down to one person who sends data in the past to go to a particular robot, a singing robot named Vivy, in order to alter the past in order to change the future so that robots do not try to destroy humanity and basically give us the kick around. An all but interesting story where it spans decades, all the while Vivy, the main protagonist, must basically learn what it means to sing from the heart. And that's her whole understanding, what it means that saying, what it means to something that comes from the heart. Interesting premise nonetheless. And yes, even though it's a simplistic story, I think what makes it strong is that basically it goes around a whole host of characters from different times and sees their world around them and how things change. She stays the same, but the world around her changes. I'm gonna put a little bit pin on the whole she stays the same. Basically, what the whole story is about is basically the characters and a bit of the world. How the experiences that everyone has, how they interconnect, and how Vivi is basically going to be the future that saves humanity from destruction. And like I said, I feel like it's pretty good with how the characters are well written. I'll say that for the characters. But overall, what I feel of the story is that it actually takes different elements from different series and actually makes it fantastic. This is where one of the rare examples I can think of where it takes different genre series and basically mixes together that actually makes it works. And I think Vivi is going to be my new high point when it comes to series like these that basically blend different elements together. But yes, again, I cannot stress how much the point is that I feel like the story is really, really strong. Great characters and great, I want to say animation, but that's not part of it, but basically great characters and great writing is what basically holds this story together. And honestly, I'm going to be spoiling a bit on the music part, but the music actually helps a lot since Vivi is a singing robot. I expected no less from a good singing, and honestly, I like it a lot. And it does add flair to the whole series and does answer the question what it means to come from the heart. And I think that is another thing that is also a theme in the series, what it means to come from the heart. It's difficult to say because my personal experience, what comes from the heart is basically your failures, your successes, your pain, your joys, and everything that has come to make who you are. That's just my hunter's humble opinion, but nonetheless, it still works on the way, and I'm kind of glad it. And honestly, it's one of the higher tier anime stories I've seen in quite a long time that actually asks good philosophical questions and actually delivers on said philosophical questions and makes me think. Because it's been a while since a series has made me think this much, and hopefully, when you watch it, you'll probably see it too. But what is without a story without the characters? And honestly, I could talk about a lot of the characters, but that would be so much spoiler territory, and I want to keep as much quiet as possible. I'm not going to spoil too much, but so just for to make sure that I don't spoil too anything, I'm just going to focus on the two main protagonists. Yes, just two, because if I talked about any other character, I'll spoil a lot for the story, and that's something I don't want, and I already told a lot about in the... First up, we have the main protagonist herself, Vivi. Vivi is basically as I said before in the story part, an android who is basically designed to sing. For you see, she was designed for the sole purpose of to make everyone smile with her singing. Honestly, she makes me smile too when she sings it, so that's a bonus. Vivi is very at the beginning. How do I put this? She's very. It's hard for me to describe her how she was at the beginning, but the best way I could say it is that she has a very cold outward appearance, but inside she really does have this struggling question of, and here it's going to say, what it means to sing come when something comes from the heart. So yeah, that's where the whole point is about her thing. But that's fine. And basically, she learns about experiences, pains, and basically what it means to lose lose some things, which is basically what we humans do very much. We lose a lot, we gain a little, but mostly lose a lot. That's the nature of humanity for you. But she does, though, halfway of the series. I'm going to go into a little bit of a spoiler here. Something happens to her that makes her personality reset. And I'll remove the pin now, that from the previous section, which I was talking about. So she basically gains and becomes Diva. Now, at first, I was confused at this point because I thought, but just the short terms, Vivi is basically just Diva with different personality. It's hard for me to explain because even I didn't get it at times. I'll you once you'll see it, probably you'll get a better of it. But overall, I find Vivi a good character. She's basically naive enough that we can sympathize her, but experienced enough that she is, as the series go on, she gains more experience and an understanding of things. And I find her that's really good. A character that's naive at the beginning, but grows as the series goes on, even though it spans decades. Oops, spoilers. But yes, I enjoyed her, and I'm sure you will too. So we have the next character, Matsumoto, who is, frankly, can be very an interesting character. Basically, he's the AI that was sent 100 years from the future back to 100 years into the past in order to try to change events so that way machines don't massacre humans. And, well, to describe Matsumoto is that he's a very calculative character. He does have a little reactions, but overall, his actions are more on the calculative side. He tries to plan things ahead using advanced mathematics and tries to use tricks and deception to in order to get the things going. He's very clever, mind you, and I wouldn't be surprised for an AI 100 years in the future. And it's quite interesting. He does butt heads with a lot with Vivi because Vivi is more of a reactionist in a lot of ways. You see, I know I should have said this in the other ones, but I wanted to say this from Matsumoto. But Vivi tends to be more reactive than Matsumoto, who tends to be more cognitive, like I said. And it's a nice dynamic between the two. It gives it an interesting, it's a nice parallel because if they agreed with each other, it would have been boring and it was more entertaining to watch how they differ and how they do things. So yeah, I enjoyed Matsumoto pretty much very well. He's an entertaining character, and I kind of like how he tries to be this brains and the operations sort of thing. Makes him very entertaining. And for the rest of the characters, I feel like they're very strong. Now, I can't go over all the characters because otherwise I'd be spoiling too much, but what I like about the characters is that they're actually human, and I like it the interesting dynamics of whether just because your machine doesn't mean you can't understand human emotions. I like that Vivi tries to understand what it means to be a heart. I enjoy that it actually has a realistic anti-robotics groups that feel like machines are evil. Then again, what sci-fi series doesn't have that notion that machines are evil? I'd be surprised if there wasn't. And I kind of do enjoy it. The characters overall, they're serviceable. They get the plot. They don't overstay their welcome, considering the fact it skips a decade. So it depends. But again, I feel like it's strong and the characters are really well written. I think this is one of the strong aspects of this series. Now we have part I've been looking forward to, the music. Oh boy! The music in Vivi is simply the best. I love its creativity. I love it how it basically just resonates with me. And I have to give some praises to one episode where basically Vivi did a live performance at the beginning, which was the opening at the same time. It was a genius move, and I hope other animes that do about singing do that because why didn't anybody think of that before? I don't know. But yes, going back without the gushing, the songs are very well produced. I love the Japanese singer. Excellently done. I would have loved to hear the English voice actors sing it, but you gotta do what you do. And honestly, I think it would have ruined it. But not to say that the actress was bad at all. No, no, she was excellently well done. Shout out to praise to her. Excellent role as Vivi. I loved Matsumoto's voice actor as well. And I gotta say, I think this was actually what kept the beat going for the series. It actually had a good message, but the music just kept me coming back because I wanted to hear more and more. And for an anime to do that, that's very rare in my books for me. Like, maybe if they got a good song or two, maybe yeah, it's good. But the fact is that it does it wonderful with how the singing is actually integrated into the series in a way that I'm not going to spoil anything is excellently done, and I could gush about it. But then again, the animation helps along with it too. Oh boy, I praised the music earlier, but man, does the animation help as well because it's so well animated. The effects they used when Vivi sings was fantastic, and the action scenes were very well animated and very well choreographed, that they look fantastic. Even though they were spread few and far between, they were still very well done, in my opinion. I gotta say that. But I also gotta admit that the simplicity does help with the animation, that it doesn't look so complicated when she moves. And the fact that the animation looks bright and colorful helps a lot, because it actually brings a breath of mystifying but beautiful air to it, which is kind of nice. I'm all too familiar with how a lot of animes can look drab at times, but even though I watch plenty that look beautiful, and they do, but this one really just highlights how beautiful animation can get if done very well. And I've got nothing but high praise for the animation. I couldn't. Okay, it can falter a little bit, but I'm just nitpicking if I just say, oh, that scene looks a little bit off. But that's just nitpicking. Overall, the animation is superbly done, and I think other animation studios should take note about this one, because this has definitely got my high marks. Is Vivy worth watching? Well, unless you skipped the end of this video, basically to this point where you just wanted to see my opinion, I think it's obviously a big yes. I was so angry at myself that I almost missed this series, and I'm happy for my friend to basically just watch it and afterwards pleasantly surprised. And I hope you guys do watch it, because it is worth watching. It's simply a gem of this year. In fact, I think I'm putting Your Eternity and Vivy as basically a gem for me. I think I've been in a good mood this year, despite what things happening, and yeah, I can severely give my recommendation. If you love characters, love a good animation, but also love the philosophical argument whether what makes us humans, and if machines copying it makes them as sentient as we are, then you can watch Vivy and basically entertain, along with some good music. It never hurt anyone to have some good music on the side while contemplating philosophical questions and seeing if one can alter the timeline in order to change fate. But that's enough of this. I can rattle on about it forever, but short answer, go watch it. You're not gonna miss anything. You're gonna, actually, scratch that. You're gonna miss a lot if you don't watch this. So go. Close this video now and just go. But before you do that, do subscribe to my Patreon if you want to support me, because helping this poor little hunter out would be very well done. Do subscribe if you enjoyed this, because I do other things such as Reddit reads and reviews, obviously. If you like this, do share it. It helps a lot to spread this around, and enjoy listening. Do join my Discord, which is down below, if you want to talk with me, because I am there almost every day, just chilling, talking with some friends. And yeah, I appreciate everything you've done, my hunters. Thanks for getting me all the way this far, and I appreciate it. And as I always say, may the good blood guide your way.